OpenAI also had a big announcement this past week when it dropped its new flagship model, GPT-4o. GPT-4o now allows you to communicate with ChatGPT in real time via live voice conversation, use video streams right from your phone to communicate with it, and also typical text. Now, this model was demoed this past Monday during a live event by OpenAI CTO Mira Murati and two OpenAI researchers. Now, in this demo, the researchers carried on natural live conversations with the model, and it appeared to pretty decently handle kind of pivoting in real time during the conversation when, for instance, it was interrupted. It's now also able to speak in different intonations, different tones of voice. It even carried on a conversation with Marathi in fluent Italian. Now, the video streaming also looked interesting as well. One of the researchers filmed himself doing a math problem and had GPT-4o follow along in real time and help him reason through the problem itself. Now, what's really noteworthy here is this is just what an improvement this is over the capabilities of the previous versions of GPT-4. GPT-4o is trained as a single model end to end across text, vision, and audio. And in fact, the O in the name stands for Omni. As a result, it performs just as well as previous GPT-4 models on text, reasoning, and code, and then sets a whole new set of benchmarks for performance across multilingual, audio, and vision capabilities. But perhaps one of the most exciting things here is not only how capable this model appears to be, but that everyone is now getting access to it. So previously, we've talked about a bunch of times, you could only get access to GPT-4 class models, typically with like a paid ChatGPT Plus, Team, or Enterprise account for the most part. In a change from that, GPT-4o will now be available to all free users. So millions and millions of people are going to get access to a far more powerful version of AI than what they've been using before. Now, there's Plus users are still obviously paying for a subscription. They do get 5 times higher message limits using 4o. And OpenAI also says they're rolling out the new version of voice mode with GPT-4o in alpha within Plus specifically. So there are still, it seems, some benefits to having the paid account. And last but not least, there's a lot for developers to like here. GPT-4o is 2 times faster, half the price, and has 5 times higher rate limits compared to the previous version of GPT-4. So, Paul, what were your first kind of overall impressions of 4o?
Yeah, there again, like Google, there's so much to unpack here. Not as many announcements, obviously. They definitely focused in on the voice thing. They've had to walk some stuff back already, which was
Yeah.
kind of fascinating. Um, so first, again, is it available? Is it not? What they said was text and image capabilities started rolling out in ChatGPT that day on May 13th. Um, They'll roll out a new version of voice mode with GPT-4o in alpha within ChatGPT Plus in the coming weeks. So I did hear some confusion from people who would go in and like talk because voice was already in
Right,
ChatGPT,
right.
and so people were thinking that that was the new thing, but it's not the new thing yet. They haven't actually rolled this out. Now Sam, I think, got himself in a little bit of trouble because the day of the announcement he tweeted her, like that was the
Mhm.
entire tweet, meaning it sounds like Scarlett Johansson from the movie Her. They then had to put out a statement yesterday, or maybe this was even this morning, um, that further explained how they trained these models. So this was May 20th. Yeah, this 2:33 a.m. May 20th. So this
Wow.
is why I think we got a legal notice potentially involved here. So the tweet from OpenAI's account was, "We've heard questions about how we chose the voices in ChatGPT, especially Sky, which is the one that sounds like her. We are working to pause the use of Sky while we address them." Now, why they would have to pause it, I don't know, because that tweet linked to a blog post on their site that says how we chose the voices. And they say that they had 400 submissions. They worked with voice actors and agencies to basically narrow it down and pick the 5 voices, none of which was Scarlett Johansson. So
Mm.
why are you pausing something if it wasn't her? I have no idea. But just a kind of a fascinating side note here is maybe you'll have the Sky option when this comes out. Maybe you won't, depending on how they solve for this. Now, I found I gotta give OpenAI props. They do like a wonderful job. Maybe it's GPT-4 writing these things. I don't know. But their blog posts do a really good job of making things understandable. So I'll just go to their blog post where it explains this idea of multimodal from the ground up. Now, again, this is something Google debuted in December with Gemini. Like that was the premise of Gemini is it's trained on multimodal data, not just text, but images, video, audio. And so this is we'll put it in the show notes. This is the OpenAI blog post. It says prior to GPT-4o, you could use voice mode to talk to ChatGPT with latencies of 2.8 seconds for GPT 3.5 and 5.4 seconds for GPT-4 on average. Meaning, I go in, I use voice mode. I say, "Hey, what's happening in Cleveland this week?" I don't know. And it would take up to like 5.4 seconds to respond to me. So that's the latency. It's like it's not human like. It doesn't respond in a fast manner. To achieve this, so this is how they do multimodal, or how they previously did it, the voice mode. Voice mode is a pipeline of 3 separate models. One model transcribes audio to text. So I speak into it, it turns it within its system into text. GPT 3.5 or GPT-4 takes that text and output text to itself. And then a third simple model converts that text back to audio. So previously, like in the current voice mode, all 3 of these things happen before it responds to you. So by doing it, this process means the main source of intelligence, GPT-4, loses a lot of information. It can't directly observe tone, multiple speakers, or background noises, and it can't output laughter, singing, or expression. So since it's like 3 layers deep before it comes back to you, it misses all the nuance of the conversation, basically. With GPT-4o, we trained a single new model end to end across text, vision, and audio, meaning that all inputs and outputs are processed by the same neural network. Because GPT-4o is our first model combining all these modalities, we are still just scratching the surface of exploring what the model can do and its limitations. So that's why this is significant, is this is kind of the next generation now. We have Gemini that's built this way. We have GPT 4.0. I'm sure GPT-5, whatever they call it, is being built the same way. So these things are now being trained on all these modalities from the ground up, which rapidly expands what they're going to be capable of doing. And then one other quick note on this one, Sam did his own blog post. Sometimes Sam publishes on samaltman.com. And he said, the new voice and video mode is the best computer interface I've ever used. It feels like AI from the movies, thus the her tweet, and it's still a bit surprising to me that it's real. Getting to human level response times and expressiveness turns out to be a big change. Talking to a computer has never felt natural to me. Now it does. As we add, parentheses, optional personalization, this is again a hint of where they're now going next. As we add personalization, access to your information, the ability to take actions on your behalf, and more, I can really see an exciting future where we are able to use computers to do more than ever before. The question becomes, is this what Siri is? Like,
Mm.
is that what we're going to get June 10th from Apple? Is all these things he's previewing? And is OpenAI going to compete directly with Apple, or are they going to work together to do this kind of thing? So, yeah, I mean, voice interface, absolutely where this is going. Vision interface is where it's going. We can see the future now starting to unfold with both of these announcements from Google and OpenAI. It is a multimodal future. Text interface is still going to be a thing, but that is not going to be the only option, 1 to 2 years from now.
And just very briefly, as we kind of close this out, like how big a deal is the 4O becoming free thing in your mind?
I think it's huge only because, I've said this before. Anytime I'm on stage, I'll ask the audience who's used ChatGPT. Every hand goes up. Who has the paid version? And like most of the hands go down. And you miss a lot of the capabilities. So I still think that AI literacy is a critical step to this. Like just giving people more powerful tools does not mean they're going to know what to do with them.
Mm.
Again, you and I talk to people all the time, big companies, people, at the engagements we do. And it's very rare you find people who are advanced users of these tools, who have like really built their own prompt libraries, have pushed the limits of what they're capable of. So I don't know that just giving people more powerful tools solves it. I think the literacy still has to come with it, but it certainly makes it that we can accelerate adoption within the business world and really throughout society by doing this.